New York, New York. Toronto Blue Jays are up 2-0 on the New York Yankees in the ALDS. And man, as a Blue Jay fan, it don't feel any better. It don't feel better. Welcome on in, everybody, to the Between the Boards, the Hall Pass, the newest name of the Between the Boards podcast, the old name. We just switched the name up like 2 weeks ago, and I love this new name. But we're going to dive in deep today. We got a lot of shit to go over. Obviously, how about our Jays? We're going to talk a ton of hockey shit too. NHL season starting off tomorrow night. Leafs run on Wednesday. A ton of stuff to go through. But man, I'm super excited for this episode. We got season 2, episode 3 here. We've been doing this for a while now. We're almost coming around. In January, it'll be a year actually since we've been doing this whole podcast stuff. Obviously, I've had my breaks. Took some time off, especially over the summer, but prime time for sports, we're living in it right now in about a day or two. So I cannot stress on how excited I am for the next couple of weeks in the sports industry. So, and before we get into today's episode, I do want to apologize. After watching over a lot of these videos, I have been finding out that my mic, it seems to be like I'm echoing a little bit, or it kind of sounds like there's not a lot of shit, or I don't know, but and also, I find that I'm kind of yelling into the mic, so I try to back the mic up a little bit, so I'm not screaming into the mic. So hopefully we're at a good little distance right now. But I don't even know where to start. I guess we'll start with the Jays' top story of the day, like we say in school. But I don't even know where to begin. I guess we'll start with Game 1. We'll start with Game 1, obviously, because we had Saturday, Sunday, 2 historic games, and the bats for the Blue Jays were just fucking alive. It was electric. Rogers Center, absolutely buzzing. And before we talking about like specific stats and what players are doing well, how about the Rogers Center? So Toronto fans, give yourself a round of applause. They were amazing. And I think the difference is between Leaf fans and Jays fans is like, obviously Leaf fans are good too. And the crowd, they get pumping, they get going. But like when we're, for an example, like I've said this before, Jays fans are like legitimate fans. They love their team. If a player's not doing too well, they're not going to be like, oh, Matthews, you piece of shit, you fucking suck. Marner, you fucking suck. If Vladdy were to be sucking right now, they're still not going to be on him too much. Like, obviously, you're going to have the odd fan that's going to be like fucking right up Vladdy's ass. But, I mean, Jays fans are Leaf fans like Yankee fans. They just, when their team's not going well and stuff isn't going well for them and their players are sucking, they take it out on the team. And it's the media and the people that ruin the team. So, but the Jays fans, very passionate. They were up the whole game. Not a lot of sitting down. Always cheering on their team. And that video of Trey Savage, which we will definitely be talking about in a bit. That video had me tearing up. Actually, I'm not just making that up. Like it was sad. Like the one of him after the game, he started crying up, tearing up, talking about his family. And his mom, dad, and brother were there at the game. Hazel May and Jeff Passan or somebody else, but they interviewed them during the game. They seem like great people. Ray's such a well-rounded human being, and Trey Savage, what a great kid what a great player that kid is, and he's gonna be good. And obviously, he just absolutely dealed for the Jays and picked up their one of their biggest wins of the season yesterday evening. So I'm excited for next year too with the kid. It's gonna be awesome. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but. Let's start off Game 1. Kevin Gausman takes the mound for the Blue Jays. The Yankees go with Luis Yeel, which was their fourth guy in the starting rotation. I think because obviously Max Fried went yesterday, so they wanted to give him a day of rest. So Yeel actually didn't the first inning. Obviously gave up the homer to Vladdy. Second inning gave up the homer to Kirk. Third inning he was fine, and then they ended up pulling him. I believe in the third inning. They put in, I believe it was Tim Hill right after that. He had a couple of shutout innings. And in the sixth inning, that's when things got a little bit tricky for Gausman. I believe there was a single, maybe another 2 back-to-back singles. And then bases loaded, and Gausman gets the biggest strikeout of the game. And we'll talk about that strikeout, because that strikeout, if Gausman didn't end up getting judged there on that splitter, which would have been ball 4, which would have made the game 2-1, that game could have been a whole different game. With none out, he gets that out. He ends up walking Cody Bellinger to make the game 2-1. Louis Varland comes in and is an absolute dog. Louis Varland. I believe after time, depending on how Jeff Hoffman does, if Jeff Hoffman obviously been shaky all season long, so you don't know what's going to go on there. But I don't in the playoffs. It's been fine. He's only had one game, but I mean, he hit a batter. We'll see, but I feel like Louis Varland could definitely step up and be that closer role, or he's gonna be in there. Like if we have a tough situation and you need a guy to get out of it, the Jays are going to Louis Varland, and I think if the Jays end up going for a bullpen game for Game 4, he's gonna probably start the first 2 innings of that game, just like they did against Boston a couple weeks ago. So. Love Louis Varland. But yeah, Louis got out of it. Jays ended up getting going from there. I believe, who did they get a bunch of hits off? It was Luke Weaver. Andres Jimenez got a 3-1. Nathan Lucas with a double down the line. It was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with the sac fly. Ended up winning that game 10-1. The bullpen was awesome that game. I believe we had Sir Anthony Dominguez, Brendan Little, Louis Varland, and then Jeff Hoffman ended up closing it out. Pitching was amazing in that. Can't complain. Got the bats going. Such a good, well-rounded game. John Schneider and Pete Walker did a good job with the pitching moves as well. We'll talk about Game 2. We'll talk a little bit on, what do we have here? Game 2, we'll just start. Trey Savage, obviously. I guess we'll just start there. First inning, goes right after Grisham, strikes him out. Second batter, I believe Aaron Judge, he ended up walking him, faces Bellinger, strikes him out, faces Ben Rice, strikes him out. The splitter, that's the pitch. And that's his strikeout pitch, and that pitch is fucking nasty. I know Kevin Gosman was watching from the sidelines, just very proud of Yesavage in that splitter because Yesavage and Gosman are similar pitchers, very over-the-top pitchers, and their two pitches are the fastball and the splitter being the put-away pitch. They both have sliders. They don't use them a ton, but really it's that splitter that they rely on the most. And I think that's one thing you might have to worry about after a while, and the Yankees kind of did that with Gosman, is that Gosman wasn't throwing the splitter a lot for strikes. And I think the only reason why Yesavage splitter was more effective is because Yesavage is releasing the ball from all the way up here. You can't even see my hand right now. That's how high it is. And I think even though some of the splitters aren't finishing as a strike, which is good, the batters are swinging at it because of how high his arm angle is when he's releasing the ball, is that it's a strike the whole time until the very, very last second when it's a ball and they swing it. And that's how nasty. And Gosman's, because he's right here, they could see it a little bit better than Yesavage, who's all the way up here. So I think that's a little bit of the difference maker between the two of them. Like Gosman had 3 strikeouts and then Yesavage had 11. And they both basically Gosman went 5 2/3 and I think Yesavage went into the 5th, got out of there. But yeah, what a fucking performance from the kid. 11 Ks, didn't even give up a hit. Not a single hit. The one off Laddie where he bobbled it a little bit, they called it an error. So a lot of people online were talking about, some people actually asked me, why did they pull Yesavage so early? Which is a good question. But I think when you're in the playoffs, and at the time you're up, I believe at the time it was 11-0. He doesn't need to be in there. He's not, like, when you're, like, really at that point, even though the final score was 13-7 and I started to get a little bit worried, even though we won by 6 runs, you want to keep really the Jays, out of all the teams, like the Yankees, for example, they have 4 starting pitchers. We had 3, really. Eric Lauer, after the performance that he's had, he's probably not going to start any games. He'll definitely relieve. He'll definitely come in that bullpen game and probably throw 2 or 3 innings. But the Jays need to save their starting pitching. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, unless it's if that was like a 2-run game, 3-run game, maybe even 4 or 5, Yesavage probably would have gone a little bit longer, but I believe they pulled him at, I believe it was 78 pitches, 75, 78 pitches. When you're up 11-0 and you basically know you're going to win that game, let that starter rest. You know what? Like a 30 pitches it's a difference maker, right? Even though it doesn't seem like a lot. It was the right call by John Schneider and Pete Walker. Obviously, the bullpen was not very good for the Jays that game. I believe we put in Brule, gave up that 2-run shot to Cody Bellinger. Nance came in, didn't do well. Lauer came in, didn't do well. And then we put in Louis Varland. He got the job done. And then Sir Anthony Dominguez got the job done in the 9th. So obviously, like, our big guys in the bullpen have got the job done so far. And I think there's a couple of guys that we haven't used yet. Like Fluharty hasn't been in there yet. Or actually, no, sorry, he was in there yesterday. He got the last out when we were struggling there. But we haven't used Yariel Rodriguez, which I'm a little curious to see how he will do, because that's a guy that can also eat up 2 or 3 innings if needed. So It's going to be interesting. And how about the bats? Let's talk about the hitting. It's just nonstop. It's hit after hit, and every single player is contributing. And I was a little worried actually going into this one because I'm like, okay, we have a lefty on the mound. That means Lucas, who's been such a hot bat as lately, we can't use him because we have a lefty on the mound. Varsho does fucking amazing. Sorry, I'm swearing a lot. He does very well against lefties. As you can see yesterday, 4 for 4, 2 homers, 2 doubles, and everyone was talking about the cycle, but that's way better than a cycle. The cycle for me is a little bit overrated. It's very, very cool and very, very rare, but it's like if a guy like, let me ask you this: if you're a player, I mean, would you rather have a single, double, a triple, and a homer, or would you rather have 2 homers and 2 doubles? Like, to me, I'm taking 2 homers and 2 doubles. The cycle's just cool because it doesn't really happen too often, but. Varsho, awesome performance from him. Vladdy, nobody hits better against the New York Yankees than Vladdy. He's a Yankee killer, and I don't even know what it is. And my biggest thing is I just hope that if the Jays move on, because it's too early to tell, you never know. The Yankees could go and win 3 games. It's totally possible, but I just hope that if the Jays were to move on, that it's not just it's just not against the Yankees, that he keeps whatever is going into the next series if we move on. So that's what I hope there. Shane Bieber is going to be taking the mound tomorrow for the Toronto Blue Jays. He has a really good back history in the playoffs. He's done well for the Cleveland Guardians / Indians at the time, so he's done a good job there. It's going to be interesting how he could do tomorrow, and I think I really did like what the Jays did there when they instead of putting Savage in Yankee Stadium, let him go at Rogers Center. He's a rookie, and Savage said he's built for this, and man, was he right. He was fucking built for this, so he was awesome. Super excited for the future with that kid, and I'm excited for when he gets to make his next playoff debut. So, unbelievable stuff there. Unbelievable. I don't know if I have anything else written down here for baseball. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about, and this is a big thing too that I've been saying to everybody when we've been talking about the Jays, mainly about the hitting. We're doing all of this without the league leader in hits, Bo Bichette. So that's just what amazes me the most. If we do get Bichette back in the ALCS, which is most likely, maybe he won't be there for game 1 or 2, but he's going to be on the ALCS roster. Again, I think they'll take Kiner Falefa off. But I think doing all this with Bichette is remarkable. It is. So we'll see what happens with Bichette. We hope that I hope he's back for ALCS. And that's only going to add better things to that Jays lineup. So, and I think everyone's kind of playing a bigger role right now, not having Bichette in the lineup, right? Especially Vladdy. Look at him; he's doing amazing. So, for tomorrow, because today Monday, off day, no game, travel day. We're going to New York. For New York, Carlos Rodon will take the mound, and then the day after be Cam Schlittler, and Cam Schlittler's coming off a very impressive outing, 8 innings, 4 hits, and 12 strikeouts. So, very impressive stuff from him. So I think the Jays really want to get it done tomorrow. It's going to be a tough game though. I would be very shocked if the Jays ended tomorrow. Very, very shocked. I think that New York isn't going to go down 3. I personally don't see it. So we'll see what happens there. Was there anything else we want to cover up here for baseball? I don't believe so. I guess we'll just talk about the couple of the other series. Tonight we have Dodgers Phillies, which is going to be such a sick series. Teoscar Hernandez was the hero the other night in Philadelphia. I do believe the winner of that series will end up going to the World Series, whether it's Philly or the Dodgers. I do like the Dodgers more in that series just because of their pitching depth. I believe Ohtani went game 1. Yamamoto's going tonight. And then they have, Blake Snell's going tonight. Yamamoto's going tomorrow. And then they also have Tyler Glasnow. It's such a filthy pitching rotation. And it's honestly not fair, but I would rather the Phillies win that. I hate on the Dodgers just because of the amount of money they spend, but it's hard to hate on the team. It sucks, right? Because they just have so much money. But then tonight we also have Milwaukee Brewers versus the Chicago Cubs. Milwaukee wiped the floor in game 1 against the Cubs, so I don't know, man. Milwaukee's just like the Jays. Not a lot of huge names, but they get the job done. And a lot of their starting pitching has been great. Freddie Peralta, Quinn Preister, who's not a guy that we've talked a lot about on here, and he's not even a big name. But he used to be at Pittsburgh. Things didn't go well there. He's been with Milwaukee, and he had 15 wins this year. So pretty impressive stuff there. What the other series? Seattle picked up their first win last night against the Detroit Tigers and Tarek Skubal. Skubal, best pitcher in the league. I think it's kind of hard to argue that. And Jorge Polanco got the best of them twice. 2 long shots. So, any other series? I'm trying to think. There's definitely one more. No, there's not. We're in the LDS, not a lot more. So it's crazy to think if the Jays win this series that there's 4 teams remaining after that. And then from there, you go to the World Series. But, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Got the Jays hat on here. It says Jays on the back. Don't worry. I know I wore my Yankee hat before. It's just for style. I fucking hate the Yankees. But we'll talk about hockey. And how about hockey? We'll crumple up this baseball stuff. But what a lot of people come in here for, the hockey stuff. We have a couple of things written down here. I guess we'll start off with the biggest thing of the day. I posted on the TikTok about it, which you should go follow the Hall Pass on TikTok and Instagram. Connor McDavid, for those of you who don't know, has re-signed with the Edmonton Oilers for 2 years for $12.5 million. And if you don't know hockey, you're probably like, $12.5 million? That's fucking life-changing. Well, that's actually extremely low for that caliber player, Connor McDavid, who's the best player in the league. Because we talked about last podcast that Kirill Kaprizov just re-signed with or signed an extension with the Minnesota Wild for $17 million. And McDavid is 10 times better than Kirill Kaprizov, and he's taken $5 million less. Or 4.5, but that's a ton of money that McDavid left on the table. Like if he wanted to, he could have took $17 million, but he didn't. Because you want to know why? Like I said, McDavid will leave money on the table to win a Stanley Cup, and the Oilers definitely have that chance now. They also re-signed one of their, I'd say a top 2 defenseman on the Oilers, Jake Wallman, 7 years, $7 million. A lot of people would probably think that's a lot of money for him right now, but in a couple of years, trust me, that contract will be worth it. He's a great player, a great defenseman for the Oilers. Him, Ekholm, and Bouchard. They have a good defenseman core. I do like it over there. And I guess we'll talk, staying with the Oilers, what else do I have? Let's talk about their chances, I guess. Let me take a look at the conferences here, and I just kind of want to look at who they got in looking at the divisions here. So Pacific, not the Pacific, excuse me everybody. So yeah, I mean, I think in this division, I think that what it comes down to is there's a couple teams in the division that, for the Oilers, I think there's only one team that could beat out the Oilers this season, and I think that would be the Vegas Golden Knights. This division consists of the Vancouver Canucks, Anaheim Ducks, Calgary Flames, Vegas Golden Knights, Seattle Kraken, Los Angeles Kings, Oilers, and Sharks. So I think the best team in this division, they're probably going to finish with the best record. I would say top 3 in the league would be the Vegas Golden Knights. Obviously, super similar team to last year, and they acquire a 100-point guy, Mitch Marner, who we all know about. I think that they'll probably come second in the Pacific. Vegas will win that. And I think the Sharks are going to have a better season. Still not going to crack the playoffs. Ducks have a chance. They have a chance. Kings definitely also have a chance too. I think that I do kind of expect a bit of a down year for the Kings. I think this division would go Vegas, Oilers, Kings, Ducks, Flames, Kraken. Oh, the Canucks too. I don't know where the Canucks are going to be. But anyways, yeah, I mean, besides the Vegas Golden Knights, I believe that the Oilers still have a very good chance of winning this division. I think they'll probably come second. Basically, looking at this contract, a lot of people thought that McDavid was probably, like, as in his short-term deal was going to be 3 or 4 years, but he only signed 2. But which doesn't necessarily mean that he only has 2 years to win a cup and then he walks. But I think he's like, okay, let's play another 2 years here. I'll take my $12.5 million. So do the math there. What is that? $35 million in 2 years. I think that a lot of the Olympic players have probably had a say in this, especially Sidney Crosby, who's been with the Pittsburgh Penguins his entire career. I bet you there's been a chatter between those two players. Yeah. So I don't. Let me know what you guys think. Does McDavid, after these 2 years, like, does he walk if he wins the cup? then he walk somewhere else, or does he stay? Like, in my opinion, if he wins a cup, he stays with the Oilers for the rest of his career. But if he doesn't win a cup, there's probably a 50% chance that he walks, 50% chance that he stays. That's the way I see things. So, obviously, I want to talk about one more player, but great deal for the Oilers. I was actually expecting it to be around $15 million, but I mean 12 and a half. No one's complaining about that. He took the exact. Sorry, I didn't mention this before. He's taken the exact same amount that he's been making, and the salary cap is only going up, and he take the exact same of what he's making. That's an unselfish player, and that's a player that will do anything for his team to win a cup. So, yeah. Last thing I want to talk about. Oh shit! The mic fell. My apologies, everybody. Last player I want to talk about. Hopefully this doesn't fall again. Mitch Marner. Obviously with the Leafs last year. We know a lot about him. I know a lot about him. Was a guy who... I watched the interview that he had. I don't know. It might have been with Friedman. But apparently after the playoffs last year, somebody sent Marner's father-in-law his address and said he's going to come kill him. So for 2 weeks after the Stanley Cup playoffs, he had security at his house. So that's some stuff that obviously, regardless of the player, regardless of what he does, isn't anything you want to hear, especially having a newborn baby and a wife and stuff at home. That's definitely something that you don't ever want to hear towards any type of player, especially a guy that plays for a team that I root for. So I think that's probably a big thing in consideration, that why Mitch Marner left the Leafs, because I don't think Mitch thought that he was going to leave the Leafs, but I think that's something that probably plays into that when you're getting death threats from your own fans because they don't win a cup. It's a little too harsh. But let's talk about Marner. I want to talk about what we think he's gonna do in Vegas this year. So this is something I'm actually gonna post on the social media account. So maybe let me fix up myself a little bit because I'm gonna be posting it. All right. So let's talk about what we think how Marner's gonna do in Vegas this year. Obviously, there goes the mic again. Off to a great start. So obviously Marner coming off a big year with the Leafs, his best season yet, 102 points. I believe that's what he finished with. Might have been 102, 104. Obviously, getting to go know the players well in Vegas. I believe it was on Saturday night. Him, Jack Eichel, might have been Riley Smith, went to UFC 322, something like that. What event that was. But, yeah, he's going to know the guys well. I think Mitch Marner and Jack Eichel are going to be on a line together. And we've seen them have some good chemistry, actually, in the preseason. So I want to ask you guys this. What do we think Mitch Marner is going to finish off in points this year? So I believe he was just over the 100 mark last year, 100-point mark. I believe that he could follow something just like that. I mean, obviously he was playing with Matthews and Nyes last year, but I feel like having him with Eichel, obviously, what a great addition that will be. So I think Marner this year will finish around. I think he'll finish with exactly 100 points. I think he'll be right around the exact same spot as last year. So let me know what you guys got there. I think he'll finish right around the 100-point mark. That's where I kind of see Marner this year. I think he actually is going to do very, very well in Vegas. And if there is any chance for Vegas to win a cup, I think Marner's going to be I think it's just a fresh start for him. Fresh start. So, man, oh man. The edit I just put on the screen of Marner, actually, I made that myself, so I'm pretty happy about that. Did that at school. So pat on the back for me. But anyways, yeah, so NHL season kicking off tomorrow. Leafs don't play till Wednesday against the Canadiens. I believe we got Florida and Chicago tomorrow. Kings and can't think of think about it on the top of my head, but it's going to be some good games tomorrow. I'm going to watch all of them. We got Florida Blackhawks, Kings, and Avalanche. And then we have the Bruins and the Capitals. Should be a good one. It's going to be interesting to see how that Bruins team looks game one. So I'm looking forward to it. Glad the NHL season is going to be underway tomorrow. What a time it is to be a sports fan right now. You got hockey just starting. You got the MLB playoffs going. You have NFL around week 6 next week. Man, 6 weeks flew by so quick. But what a time it is. What a time it is. Thank you guys all for tuning in to episode 3 of season 3 of the Hall Pass. Always appreciate the support. Always appreciate everyone who's asking me questions about sports and saying they've tuned in to all the podcasts. always greatly appreciated. So we'll be back here. Today's Monday. I think we'll be back here on Thursday because that's what we'll do, because the Leafs will be done on Wednesday, their first game of the season. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see if Easton Cowan draws into the lineup Wednesday night. Should be interesting. And yeah, we'll be back here Thursday night. So go Leafs go. Go Jays go. Hopefully Jays can get it done tomorrow. We'll see how things go. Kind of rhyming here. I'm like Dr. Seuss. But yeah, we'll be back here a couple days, everyone. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you later. Peace.